Hi, welcome to my YouTube video. Today I'm going to talk about a subject that might be a little bit upsetting to you. My intention is not to upset my viewer, but to help them better understand the true manipulative nature of pathological narcissists. But today I'm going to talk to you about the selective process that many of these pathological narcissists undertake when they are seeking a partner. In my book, The Human Magnet Syndrome, I discuss how perfectly the caretaker, the altruist, the person who's always wanting to make other people feel good, or the codependent, or the person with self-love deficit disorder, fits perfectly with the selfish person, the controlling person, the pathological narcissist. But what I'm going to talk about is how the pathological narcissist figures out who is the right victim for him. Because this is not done by coincidence. As much as the human magnet syndrome fills the codependent and the narcissist alive with chemistry, excitement, lust, that soulmate feeling, certain pathological narcissists, mainly the malignant narcissist, the covert narcissist, and the person with antisocial personality disorder, which is commonly known as the sociopath or the psychopath, they're very selective. They know the type of person that they will be able to control, dominate, and who eventually they will be able to conquer. The best way that I described it in a session a couple weeks ago, it actually really surprised me when I said this, and it's going to surprise you. But remember, it's an analogy, and I think strong analogies hit home for many people. So I explained to my client, I said, I want you to think of a pedophile, because we know pedophiles, certainly they have a personality disorder, and we know are horribly dangerous people. But they just don't pick any child to hurt. It is as if they can smell, intuit the type of child who's going to be most vulnerable to them. The child who's going to be the perfect target for their abuse, who will not tell their parents, who will be afraid of protecting themselves, and who will fall prey to their manipulative mind games, their manipulations, their brainwashing, their threats. The pedophile is going to go into a playground, and he's going to see all these children. And we know how sick and twisted the pedophile is in what he's desiring. But the child that somehow strikes him as insecure, who's alone, who doesn't have a family that'll protect him, who believes they don't have a lot of power to control themselves, they intuit that. They can almost instinctively pick the one that is going to be the easiest to manipulate. The other type of personality trait that this hypothetical pedophile looks for is a person who doesn't trust their own perceptions and their own feelings, who has grown up in an environment where someone was told them, you know, I can't believe you're thinking that, or you're wrong, when in fact what they were thinking or feeling was absolutely right. So they grew up thinking, well, maybe what I'm feeling and seeing is wrong, so maybe I should just be quiet. They're also looking for, and this is also very key, is a child who is isolated. This child doesn't have a lot of friends. This child doesn't have siblings to whom he is connected or protected by, whose parents are working, who maybe are alcoholic or just don't give a damn. And lastly, I explain to my SLD or codependent client in this exercise that the pedophile knows the lonely children. He can spot instinctively, reflexively, loneliness in people. And in all my years of working with childhood trauma, especially sexual abuse, it always is the same. The adult survivor of the sexual abuse tells me that when they were a child, they didn't believe they could tell their parents. They didn't believe their parents would protect them. They had horrible self-esteem. The teachers didn't really know them. They felt invisible in the world in which they live. And that's important. That's important enough for me to say. They felt invisible in the world in which they live. So the pedophile who's got a natural inclination of spotting this type of child starts talking to that child and knows almost immediately if that child fits the profile. They smell it out like a hound dog, looking for the perfect fit or personality traits and relationship conditions and situations that make it safe for them so that they cannot get caught. So what I've done is I've taken this hypothetical situation to my SLD codependent client and I said, okay, I want to show you something. I want to explain more about your susceptibility to pathological narcissism or narcissistic abuse. And we go through all of the personality traits and situations and conditions that a pedophile looks for in a child he wants to victimize. The reason I do this is I'm about to switch the conversation and I'm about to show my SLD client who is in complete denial or maybe partially denial about how they were chosen, picked from a larger group of people to be their perfect partner, their victim, their suffering codependent. So I asked them, if you don't mind, let's go through all of the characteristics that a pedophile looks for when seeking a safe child victim. I asked them to connect it to the narcissist who they were in a relationship with. And that was really, really powerfully upsetting. The loneliness, the isolation, the not having parents that protected them, doubting their own reality, the insecurity, having no friends, and everything that I'd mentioned previously, they identified with. And it hit them hard that the person with whom they have been in love with, the pathological narcissist, the borderline, the ASPD, the psychopath, the narcissist, they knew what they were doing. It's almost as if they had a sense of purpose to find the perfect partner who would not trust what they felt inside, who would not have the internal or the emotional resources, would not have the external resources, the relationships to protect themselves, and who would fall prey to them perhaps for the rest of their life. So in conclusion, when we are discussing narcissistic abuse syndrome, or we are discussing the relationship between an SLD, someone with self-love deficit disorder or codependency, and a pathological narcissist, it's just not the human magnet syndrome, because the human magnet syndrome brings the two together in a relationship. The pathological narcissist is also looking for the safe victim who will not fight back and who will fall prey to their evil intentions. So my dear viewer, those who can identify with this video, I say this to you to wake you up a little bit, to remind you that it really wasn't your fault. This person chose you out of a larger group of people, knew that you, because of your past, because of your misfortune, because of you having parents or a parent who didn't love you the way you deserved, who didn't provide you with an opportunity to build self-esteem, to know who you are, to believe that you're trusted, to believe that the world is trustworthy, to believe that you are safe in a world of potential danger. They spotted you. And not only did they spot you, but they kept feeding the very psychological forces that made you so isolated, lonely, and self-hating. I hope this video, or perhaps other videos, or your psychotherapist, or any process motivates you to understand the web, the deceitful, manipulative web that your pathological narcissist has ensnared you in from the very beginning. Because with this understanding, you can start to see them for who they are. And then that's the moment when you decide to break free. And that's a very complicated process, and this video is not about that. It's about identifying why you were so perfectly chosen by your pathological narcissist. I hope this video helped you, although probably was very upsetting. I hope it inspires you to go even deeper, to explore more background about you and your pathological narcissist, so that you can break free and understand why your self-love deficit disorder, why your lack of self-love sets you up consistently to fall prey to pathological narcissists. And that is why my next book is called The Codependency Cure, Recovering from Self-Love Deficit Disorder. Because they can't hurt us. The pathological narcissist cannot hurt us when we love ourselves. But how do we love ourselves? Is we have to solve, cure, heal the trauma that turned us against ourselves.